like it was
Still to come
that
on part 2
Eubank
of
Senior
My Time
wasn't
to
going to
Talk.
be there. Come fight night, he turned up, and it just put me in the mind of like this was the grown man version of when you know, your kids are waiting for you at the assemblies, and the first thing they do is like they're all looking to see where their parents are, and I feel like it just meant the world for him to actually have his dad there and see it, because you know, I feel like beyond the fight, this was a thing of fathers, and how important fathers and fatherhood is, like as a job. Like this is probably one of the most important jobs you will ever have, is being a father.
I think you never really done anything, everything was consensual. But we've had it in the past that, you know, like Cat Williams told him, why are you going for these young girls? Monique says to him, get somebody that will cook you some food and look after you and all that. Why are you going for these girls? Why are you going for these young girls and all that?
Shame on the media and shame on this justice system.
Shame on Google in a way as well.
For allowing that to kind of just go under the radar. So all those that need to know, Jamie Acourt is out of prison. You know what I mean? Watch your backs.
The fires in Los Angeles. Supposing somebody says, like, well, you know what, just go and live somewhere else. I mean, like, it's not your land anymore, it's all burnt. There was people in that fire situation that was going back to burning ebbs of their house, still looking for stuff, still looking for things. You know, these people in Gaza has been fired on from October. The year before?
From before October and up until even now, and they're not looking for like their possessions, they're looking for their children. So go on, what have you got?
Well, mine, I was thinking was going to be abroad, and it was going to be the Shannon Sharpe thing, which is drivel in the sense of, you know, anything else,
but it's quite
type of thing. But it's been,
you
know, I mean, it's been reported that Shannon Sharpe has been done for 50 million. He says that it's a what's the word?
Like a smear campaign.
Yeah, type of thing. He never really done anything. Everything was consensual. But we've had it in the past that, you know, like Cat Williams told him, why are you going for these young girls? Don't you know how that ends up?
Oh, he said young white women, which is the crux of the matter.
What's her name? The one that interviewed
Monique.
Monique says to him, get somebody that will cook you some food and look after you and all that. Why are you going for these girls? Why are you going for these young girls and all that? So there you go. But still, at the end of the day, he has to get something. But he reckons that everything is consensual and everything. How's that working out for you?
And I mean, I wouldn't
Shannon,
think it like that.
how's that working out for you?
Of him like saying some, you know, derogatory stuff, but that doesn't prove like a sexual assault at the end of the day. But yeah, like all they need to do is put the accusation out there at the end of the day, don't they? And that will do enough to kind of finger your career, and obviously the amount of numbers that his podcast does, you know, and
you can tell where that's coming from. You know what I mean?
Do you know what I mean?
It's like he broke the algorithms when he done Cat Williams, and that must have been something else for YouTube. You know, like as good as it is for YouTube, it was bad for other people.
Well, it was the stuff that Cat was saying as well, and I said, and it's the stuff that Cat was saying for it to get those types of. It would have been all right if that interview was done and then it kind of went under the radar, but because it was so massive,
and still is.
Yeah, they've probably been gunning from him from then, looking for the dirt. Do you know what I mean? Like it would not surprise me. But
obviously, people knew what he's like. You know what I mean? Because you can't have that many people, or even two people telling you that you need to calm down about them young girls. You know what I mean? You know, that means you've been doing it before now. So
and it kind of comes with that
and like Cat Williams says, as soon as you get that money, you start getting that money, you're going to be
You're
a target.
Yeah, you are.
You know what I mean? But you wouldn't have
So
it.
you have to watch who you think. I think because he comes across as so personable and he's the
And he used to be
the laughing thingy, and he's a commentator, and he thinks he's aligned himself with the right. Like they lull you into a false sense of security, basically. Like, oh, they wouldn't, like, you're the nice one. Do you know what I mean? Like how they get you like that. And people have been warning him for years about that type of thing. But you know, some people need to feel.
As they say,
Ideas
can't hear.
Literally.
So that was abroad. Obviously, there's the Trump scenario.
Yeah.
That is like every single day. We've had 100 days. We've had 100 days of Trump, and we've had 100 days of him telling us what he's going to do next. But yes, we know that you are trying to get your country back into, you know, like, we make all our stuff and all that, but you've gone the other way for too long. You know, you've gone China, you've gone Africa, you've gone wherever, you know what I mean, for too long for it to just happen overnight. You know what I mean? You cannot be making your country poor to prove a point. I don't understand that sort of mentality. I really don't. You know, that you just do what you want. You know,
that's ridiculous.
Please, Keir Starmer, do not try that at all.
He's probably sitting there
because you haven't got
taking notes.
You haven't got the warehouses. You haven't got the production lines. No more anyway. You used to have them, but you haven't got them anymore, and that's the same as America. You know, that is, you just, all you're going to do is make it country poor for a while.
So yeah, coming back home, the Jamie Acourt thing.
Oh yeah.
So you know, I would forgive anybody for not knowing this information that we're about to say,
because we didn't know it.
But Jamie Acourt, one of the guys that was involved in the death of Stephen Lawrence, basically, we know that justice was not served in any way, shape or form. But Jamie Acourt went to prison, I think it was in November 2024, for drug charges. This past month, he was released. Can you find sight nor sound of it? Like, literally, like, we heard that this had happened. Well, I'd seen it on social media. I'm looking for some kind of news report. There's one. And
which you have to pay for.
Surprise, surprise, this is in the Sun, but you need to pay to reject their cookies. So you can't really access it unless you want to accept the cookies. But yeah, one report on you know what I mean, on this, that he's basically been released into some village in London. And how disgusting is that? Like, talk about actually hiding these perpetrators. Like, why are they protecting him? Do you know what I mean? Why is he getting the benefit of being able to be thingy? Exactly. And as I said, this was only reported on a couple of days ago, and it said he was released a couple of, like, last month.
A month ago.
Do you understand? So it's like, what is going on? And it just, you know, shame on the media and shame on this justice system.
Shame on Google in a way as well.
For allowing that to kind of just go under the radar. Do you know what I mean? So all those that need to know, Jamie Acourt is out of prison. You know what I mean? Watch your backs.
Exactly.
So yeah, staying at home, Connor versus the whole Eubank versus Benn. The juniors fight, however many years later. So, you know, I was screaming at my telly. I'm sure a lot of you were screaming at your tellies also, whether you were for Connor, whether you for Chris.
I was like this. I
was for Chris.
Like the Benn.
Yeah,
the Benn and what's it? The fight. You know what I mean? Is that their songs?
Well, it's been the hype for this
Why
fight
have they been hyping
has
this?
been amazing
For like months, hasn't it?
Like, because obviously they were meant to fight a few years back, but there was some kind of drug scandal. They said that Conor Benn had something in his blood that, you know, he shouldn't have had. Like, they were saying it was some kind of steroid. He's refuted it, said it was some contaminated egg. Chris has then, when it comes to the weigh-in, Chris has smashed the egg in his face. So that caused the whole kind of outcry and outrage. But I've got to say, other than, you know, Eggate, like Chris has really worn his heart on his sleeve. Chris Eubank Jr.
Yeah.
Obviously, he lost his brother a couple of years back. He's been helping to raise his brother's son ever since. His brother like literally just had a son and then ended up tragically dying. And he's been so open about it. He's like, even when Benn has taken like low blows, oh, my dad's here, where's your dad? Because obviously it's clear that Chris Eubank Senior has got some kind of thing, like, I'm not speculating, but there's something clearly going awry there also. I haven't had a proper relationship. There's been a rift. And now since then, like, you know, there's been negative comments been in the press from Senior against Junior, and Benn has kind of just used that to his advantage. Oh, even your own dad don't like you, and all of this kind of stuff. So it's been a little bit nasty, but throughout all of it, Chris has been very honest. He's like, yeah, me and my dad aren't speaking. I hope one day we can, you know, heal the rift. Obviously, you know what I mean, I've been through a lot, this and that, like, anything that's been thrown at him, he's like literally put it back and put it out there to say, yeah, this is thingy, I am going through it, you know, it's been very hard for me, blah 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 blah. So come fight night, like, it was pitted that Eubank Senior wasn't going to be there. Come fight night, he turned up, and it just put me in the mind of, like, this was the grown man version of when you know, your kids are waiting for you at the assemblies, and the first thing they do is, like, they're all looking to see where their parents are. And, like, so while I believe that Junior would have, you know, prevailed and succeeded either way, I feel like it just meant the world for him to actually have his dad there and see it, because, you know, I feel like beyond the fight, this was a thing of fathers, and how important fathers and fatherhood is, like, as a job. Like, this is probably one of the most important jobs you will ever have, is being a father. Do you understand? And it just kind of, you know, it made me quite emotional and quite proud, like, watching, because, like, whatever's happened, like, he's still, like, turned up for his son and enabled his son to think. Some people were like, oh yeah, he just wanted the limelight and stuff. Like, I don't believe that. Like, there was a resurfaced clip that came out after the fact, after Junior won, that shows, which was crazy to see, a young Lennox Lewis talking to Chris Eubank Senior, and Junior is there as a young boy, and he's saying, oh, I want to fight, I want to be a fighter when I'm older, and you can see the worry in Senior's face. Like,
I often tell Christopher that boxing is a business that you never see middle class or upper class youngsters become champion, because you need hunger, you need to be hungry. And the fact that you've kind of been brought up within these four walls here, and you've being protected, I don't think you're going to be hard enough.
I just want to try it. I just want to see what it's about. If my dad can do it, why can't I do it?
That's the argument.
20 world championship wins, son. You see that?
Actually, that's good, because he won 21.
As so many people come to understand, you take a beating, is this what it's about? Well, not for me. And I hope you're not stubborn and kind of
that's what you are. You're stubborn and bullheaded, and that's why you made it.
Yeah, but I don't want him to.
So you're saying you don't want him to be stubborn and bullheaded.
Yeah, but listen, you know,
in life,
for the guys who don't make it,
for
the guys who don't make it in boxing, you know, it's tragic. It's a tragic business to be in.
But if you're convinced he's not going to make it, just let him go until he wears himself out of it and he's not bothered anymore.
Yeah, and by then, all those good-looking features would have gone. You know what they say? Let me tell you what, trust me. Don't, Christopher, just leave it alone. And you know what?
Remember what they said, right? Okay, am I bad looking? Okay. Why are you putting that into the kid's head?
Because I don't want him to fight. I don't want him to fight. Everyone gets hurt, everyone gets disfigured, everybody gets used.
What you're saying is irrelevant at this time.
What do you say?
I just want to try it.
It's a really okay. I'll let you try. All you've got to do is tell me the word. If you tell me, I'll help you. Okay?
Dad, I've already said yes. Stop saying you say yes or no. I want to do it.
You want to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. Just leave it there.
No, Dad.
Come here.
No.
Okay, come on. Who knows? Maybe there's another. Maybe there's another. No. Let's just put it this way. Now there's one to watch. There'll be one to watch. But I so hope it's not in boxing.
So it's crazy to see all these years later.
I see one report of him actually saying, him actually interviewed, saying that he is kind of fed up of being in the line, in sort of like, like not in the limelight if his dad is not around.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying again.
If his dad's not around, it's like,
because it's like,
he
what was she doing it
fades.
for?
He fades into the background. He says,
because this is the thing. It was about legacy, wasn't it? Like the whole fight was about legacy. So if his dad wasn't there, it's like, well, what am I really doing this for? Like whether you win, lose, or draw, you want your parent there to see your successes. You want your parent there to see your failures, or to pick you up once you've failed. Do you know what I mean? If you do fail. And I feel like that was a perfect display. Like Conor Benn, obviously he fought his heart out. You could see he was devastated in the loss, but the way Nigel Benn was just there for him, like you could not help but respect it. Do you know what I mean? And as black men as well, like to show that public display, like I was just like, well done. Like,
that is true, actually. But
well done.
Actually, they did say, and that was another thing. All that I know, you have to look at both sides. And the other side of Conor Benn was that they didn't think that he was well enough to do that fight. They said that he was skinny less than a month ago. And
Conor Benn, he actually had to put on weight because he went up 2 weight division. It was Chris that had to lose quite a bit of weight. Yeah, so he didn't.
And they says that Conor Benn wasn't weighty enough or something.
I think it was.
They
too
said that
much
he had this. He had an illness like months ago or something, and he shouldn't have been allowed to have that sort of fight when it was just. It was just a performance as far as they're concerned.
It wasn't.
Because it's like to have a fight that was negative in the first place. It says was now looked upon as like, this is a rematch of old people, being the fathers, not being able to do not being able to have that rematch.
Yeah. I mean, you could look at it that way. But when you watched it and you see how much these guys obviously clearly love their sons,
which I didn't watch the match actually,
than that. Do you know what I mean? Like it. Clearly they've both chosen to go into the sport of boxing because of their dads. So, of course, they're going to want to, because of that rivalry that was happening. But I just feel like it was a good way. Clearly there is there's a rematch clause, so it may happen again. I personally wouldn't like to see it again. I would like it to just end at that. And,
that's what actually, to tell you the truth, that is what happened with Nigel Benn, and what's it? It's just his. They says, "Please don't fight again," and he went and fought again, and then ended up, half dead, really. You know what I mean? So let's not let it happen again. Definitely. Karma has a way of.
But I just thought, just to end it, I just thought that, we talk about toxic masculinity a lot. So it was just nice to see an actual display of what positive male interactions
Could
look
look like.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So yeah, well done to them. And well
Yeah,
done to
that's
Chris. Well done.
Well done for winning, because
and-
he did have trauma.
Yeah,
He's had a
that's
lot of
it.
trauma.
And well, he's still going through it. You can clearly see he's still going
Yeah,
through it.
you
Like,
can.
you know what I mean? Like, this isn't something that kind of goes, like, grief, we know, can, you know, last a lifetime, especially when it's, like, your siblings. So you can only imagine, but I'm just glad that, you know what I mean, he is living vicariously through his nephew, and being able to, you know, give his nephew all of that you know, that loving and thingy that obviously he's going to be missing from his dad, from his actual dad. So, yeah, lastly, just wanted to go back abroad. Louis Theroux did a documentary on the BBC called Settlers. So he went, obviously he's been into Israel before in the past and done a documentary. This one, he's gone off the back of this October 7th fiasco. And I've just got to say, it was a masterclass in journalism. Like, he does what Louis does, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He acts a little bit like unassuming.
I don't really know what's going on, but I do
clearly
really.
he knows what's going on, and he asked the right questions, and he just let these people show apartheid in 4K, basically, like, literally, and they're doing it with pride, but he's clearly just letting them tell on themselves, do you understand? Like, it was a hard watch. It was definitely a hard watch.
Where was it on?
On BBC, and that was another shocker.
Really?
Do you know what I mean?
I
Yeah,
didn't see
like,
that on
I would
BBC.
say watch it before they take it off. I think it's going to be shown again on Wednesday. It's going to be shown on BBC again on Wednesday, but it is on BBC iPlayer, so watch it. It's an hour. And he did a 7-minute little thing as well online that you can find about why he decided to do the documentary. But yeah, like, as I said, very hard watch, just, you know, clearly showing what we already know happens and how apartheid works. But he followed this one guy, Issa, that, you know, lovely Palestinian man, and he was just showing him how the checkpoints work, basically how, you know, he could go through and he wouldn't be able to go through as a Palestinian man. He would then have to go all the way back around just to come to one spot, do you know what I mean? Like, showing him places that he would have grown up in that he's now not allowed to step anywhere near, do you know what I mean? Like, the IDF just randomly telling people that they can't do things that they were doing just 5 minutes ago, and there's no law against it. They can just come and tell you. And like, Lou was like, well, why do they need to stop? Like, what would you do? And he was like, oh, like, just stop the camera, because they know that if you weren't there, you know, they would have already been arrested. They says over 40% of Palestinian men will have been arrested at some point, and not for, like, because they're bad people, just for this kind of nonsense. Do you understand? And then you had this woman, Daniela Wise, which she calls herself the godmother of thing. I've spoken about her on TikTok before. She calls herself the godmother of the settlers, basically. So she has single-handedly, I would say, poisoned the minds and brainwashed so many people to come and settle in certain regions and to go and basically shoot up Palestinians and get them off the land. And she will say this is in self-defense, but no, it's clearly not in self-defense. Do you know what I mean? But
where did she come from? America?
I think they're from Poland or something. And this was another great thing, because Louis would say, oh, where are you from? And they would say Israel, and then he'd be like, but where did you actually travel from? Showing you don't belong on that land. These people are Americans, they're Russians, they come from Hungary, Poland. Like, nobody is thingy of the land. Nobody actually comes from that land. Like, the Palestinians come from that land. And this is why, you know, it's a testament to the Palestinian people, is because the Israelis, when stuff is popping off, you will see them go into the next airport as fast as they can. Do you know what I mean? Because they have Jewish citizenship. They don't actually belong there. Whereas Palestinians, they will die where they are, because they're like, we are not, like, even if they had the option. So when people are talking about, like, this same Daniela White, she's so evil, it's unbelievable. But she's like, oh, just send them to Turkey, send them to here, send them to, like, they don't care, send them to Egypt, blah blah blah. Do you know what what I mean? Like, it's that easy, and like all these people are just gonna be accepting them first of all. Do you know what I mean? But it's not. They don't want to go anywhere. Do you know what I mean? They don't. This isn't an option to them. Whereas these lot, they can easily go back from where they once came. Do you know what I mean? They can go back to America. They can come back to England. Like, you've got these IDF soldiers that people are looking to try and put on trial here for war crimes. Because they've come back to England now after killing off kids. Like, let's just not like pussyfoot around about this. Like, these are just monsters walking around. Like they've done nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like, they've just gone to like some summer holiday camp and then coming back. You know what I mean? On their jollies. Like, this shouldn't be allowed to happen. And when Louis confronted her about it being a war crime, she said, "Oh, light felony."
What?
Yeah, light felony. Do you know what I mean? Like, this, they take it for a joke thing, like they really do. And these are like normal people, like, well, you think normal people, but you would walk past these people and not think anything. But they are inciting the massacre of women, children, and you know, just everyday men and women. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a doctor from England called Dr. Gassan. And I saw a video that he did the other day, and he said, like, you know, like how long it takes to train just a normal medical doctor. Yeah. He said, like, there's say one neurosurgeon, one cancer surgeon left in Gaza right now. Now, these people take over 7 years to train. So if there's only one person left, who is left to train anybody else? Like, this is systematic. Do you know what I mean? They know exactly what they're doing, because once there's no doctors, once there's no teachers, once there's no, then they can say, well, there you go. You know, there's nobody to come and care.
If it was a resort,
exactly.
I mean, like, you'd have everything there.
There you go.
You know,
so
and it really is underliningly disgusting. It's disgusting in the sense that, like, let's say Los Angeles, the fires in Los Angeles. Supposing somebody says, like, well, you know what, just go and live somewhere else. I mean, like, it's not your land anymore. It's all burnt and it's all smashed up. So just go and live somewhere else. We'll leave it. Would they, though? No. Do you know,
they would expect people to help. They would expect people to help.
That is where they lived for 20-odd years, 30-odd years, generations. Would you go and move somewhere else? Even if your house wasn't there anymore, you still have to think to yourself that if it was likened to somewhere else, you know, like, that wouldn't even be a conversation. No. That would be like, well, that's our land. If anybody else wants to pay for it and we move away, that would be different. But we don't even want to move away. There was people in that fire situation that was going back to burning ebbs of their house, still looking for stuff, still looking for things. You know, these people in Gaza has been fired on from October, the year before.
From before October and up until even now. And they're not looking for, like, their possessions. They're looking for their children. They're looking for their wives. They're looking for their mothers, their fathers. Do you know what I mean? In the
just
rubble of this
because they know they're
catastrophe. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, just, I would say, give it a watch before they take it up, because you know the BBC like to, you know, post and delete, as they would say.
Well, as we says, they report what they want to report, because we haven't heard. We've got two examples of them telling us about the Lawrence murderer. You know what I mean? And that's it. You know what I mean? But let that be somebody else. You know what I mean? Let that be somebody else. That would have been all over.
All over the place. If that was a black guy that had killed a white kid, it would be all over
the place. It wouldn't have been 28 years. He
would have been in prison already. Exactly. He would have been in prison for drug charges.
Still be in prison.
He'd be in prison for murder.
Still be in prison right now.
Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. That was At Home and Abroad.
At Home and Abroad. Don't quote me.